Shabbat Shalom, and welcome back here to the Light to the Nations. To the Torah portion we are doing every Shabbat, studying the book of Devarim. We're almost reaching the end of the book, I think. And today we're going to study the chapter 29 and chapter 30. This is the portion Nitzavim, that it means standing, or when you are standing. So it's a beautiful portion because we are basically getting to, as I said, to the end of the book, where YaHuWaH is reminding the second generation of the children of Israel about the covenant, is preparing their heart for what's coming after crossing the Jordan and conquering the promised land. It's a beautiful foreshadow of what we are going through in these times, understanding and remembering that we are at the door. Yahushua is at the door. He soon will come back to this world, and we are going to be like that second generation. So we are in preparation in order to conquer the land and to receive the reward and to receive the inheritance that YaHuWaH has prepared for his people. And, it's the final conclusion of the beautiful plan of restoration of all things. So it's a blessing to be with you once again here. I welcome all of you here in the chat. If you're not in the chat, we're welcoming you as well for being with us. And if you are not able to be with us online, also our hearts and our love is with you all, and we hope in YaHuWaH that everything that we're going to do today, everything we're going to talk today, is going to bless you in the same way that it's blessing us. Something you want to say?
No, just important to have everybody in our prayers, and always remember that when we think about somebody, maybe something that Abba is putting in our heart, and is also, I can say like 100% that usually when you think about somebody, is that the other person also is thinking about you somehow. So it's our Father allow us to make that connection in the air, I don't know, through our thoughts, through our feelings, through our love, that he's telling us, you are not here alone. Maybe you are, I don't know, in the other side of the ocean, in some other continent, but we are in him. And that's something beautiful, that he's giving us the understanding that every time we are thinking, we are praying, and sometimes a name cross our, I don't know, our thoughts, or we remind something about some person, is YaHuWaH telling us, yeah, you need to pray for them, or they are close to you, they are thinking about you too. So at one point it's going to be so beautiful, realizing that we don't even have to talk. He's giving us all these thoughts, all these connections. And I found it really beautiful and special.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's
so seeing all your names is a beautiful confirmation.
That's beautiful. So, we have a song to share with you here. So let me go and let's play this one before we begin with the study today. So here we go. Beautiful song. So let's pray together. YaHuWaH Elohim Sebaot, we want to give thanks to you in this moment, in this new Shabbat, because you are the one giving us the opportunity to be once again here all together in this gathering with the intention of our heart to seek your face, to study your word, to learn from you, from your truth. We want to give our hearts to you in this moment, and we want to ask you to guide us in everything we're going to do today. We want to ask you, Abba, with all our hearts to teach us your ways, to prepare our hearts to live the life that you have decided for us, that we can fulfill the purpose that you have appointed for each one of us, this generation of your remnant. We're going through darkness in this world, and the only way to go through the valley of shadow is with you, by your hand. Understanding that you are the light, that your son Yahushua is the light of the world. And it's only in you, YaHuWaH, that we find hope. We have an expectation of your kingdom here on earth. I pray to you in this moment for this family, for your sons and daughters that are here with us, that you can guide their steps, that you can guide our steps in order to continue doing what is right before your eyes, in order to continue listening to your voice and understand what's your will, in order to do the desire of your hearts through our own experiences. We want to be like you. We want to be like your son Yahushua, and the desire of our heart is to follow his steps. Guide us, transform our lives in order to be like you are, and give us the strength in order to endure until the end, YaHuWaH Sebaot. We want to tell you that we love you with all our hearts, that our life is for you, and it's only in you that we find fullness of life, O YaHuWaH Sebaot. Thank you for your presence and for being with us in this moment. And we lift out our voices to you as an ascending offering, asking you to receive it, because we do it with all our heart and with all our love for you. And we do it in the mighty name of your son, Yahushua HaMashiach. Amen.
Amen.
So let's do the Parsha in 60 seconds. Here we go.
Shalom and welcome to Parsha in 60 seconds. Today's portion is from Deuteronomy 29:9, 30, 20. It is called Nitzavim, which means one standing. Moses tells the Israelites that today they were to enter into a covenant with God. Those who were present and those who were absent were now in covenant. Moses reminds the Israelites that other nations worship wood and stone idols, and that some Israelites would join them thinking they were immune. But God would never forgive them. Rather, God's anger would rage against them until every curse recorded in the Torah would come down upon them, and God had blotted out their names and sent them into exile. However, if they remembered God during exile, they would be brought back in love by God, and all who oppose Israel will receive all the curses. Moses insisted that the law was not hard to keep. Rather, it was very close to them, in their mouths and hearts. Moses said that he set before them the choice between life and prosperity on the one hand, and death and adversary on the other. Moses repeats himself several times and calls heaven and earth to witness that he has put before the Israelites life and death, blessing and curse. He highly advises life as the best option so that they might have life and long endure in the land that God swore to their ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that is Nitzavim in 60 seconds.
Nitzavim in 60 seconds. So let me put the scripture here on the camera. And we have just an issue with our monitors here. So please let us know if you are able to hear well. So please just put the comment in the chat if you are able to have a proper sound. Because, we lost our monitors here, and
We don't know.
I put a mitigation plan in place, but I don't know if it's can hear well. Yes, okay, good. So let's do it. So I think I'm gonna start reading 29.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. So starting in verse 9, it says the following: Therefore you shall guard the words of this covenant and do them, so that you prosper in all that you do. All of you are standing today before YaHuWaH your Elohim, your leaders, your tribes, your elders, and your officers, and all the men of Israel, your little ones, your wives, and your sojourner, who is in the midst of your camp, from the one who cuts your wood to the one who draws you water, so that you should enter into the covenant with YaHuWaH your Elohim, and into his oath, which YaHuWaH your Elohim makes with you today, in order to establish you today as a people for himself, and he himself be your Elohim, as he has spoken to you, and as he has sworn to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. And not with you alone I am making this covenant and this oath, but with him who stands here with us today before YaHuWaH our Elohim, as well as with him who is not here with us today. For you know how we dwelt in the land of Mizraim, and how we passed through the nations which you passed through. And you saw their abominations and their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, which were with them. Lest there should be among you a man or woman, or clan or tribe, whose heart turns away today from YaHuWaH our Elohim, to go and serve the mighty ones of these nations, lest there should be among you a root-bearing bitterness or wormwood. And it shall be, when he hears the words of this curse, that he should bless himself in his heart, saying, I have peace, though I walk in the stubbornness of my heart, in order to add drunkenness to thirst. YaHuWaH would not forgive him, but rather the displeasure of YaHuWaH and his jealousy shall burn against that man, and every curse that is written in this book shall settle on him. And YaHuWaH shall blot out his name from under the heavens. And YaHuWaH shall separate him for evil out of all the tribes of Israel, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in this book of the Torah. And the generations to come of your children who rise up after you, and the foreigner who comes from a far land, shall say when they see the plagues of that land and the sicknesses which YaHuWaH has sent into it, all its land is sulfur, salt, and burning. It is not sown, nor does it bear, nor does any grass grow there, like the overthrow of Sodom and Amorah, Admah and Seboyim, which YaHuWaH overthrew in his displeasure and his wrath. And all nations shall say, why has YaHuWaH done so to this land? What does the heat of his great displeasure mean? And it shall be said, because they have forsaken the covenant of YaHuWaH Elohim of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them out of the land of Mizraim. And they went and served other mighty ones, and bowed themselves to them, mighty ones that they did not know, and that he had not given to them. Therefore the displeasure of YaHuWaH burned against this land, to bring on it every curse that is written in this book. And YaHuWaH uprooted them from their land in displeasure, and in wrath, and in great rage, and cast them into another land as it is today. The secret matters belong to YaHuWaH our Elohim, but what is revealed belongs to us and to our children forever, to do all the words of this Torah. Well, there's a lot of things here, but I don't know what is in your heart to share.
It's about the promise that he is doing, and not only with the people that were standing there at that time. Mm-hmm. It's also with us, it's with everybody who arrived to the realization that they were in Mizraim at one point. Mm-hmm. We were a slave. And then we have this opportunity of being delivered by him, by his mighty right hand. He took us from there, and then everything is different. And also, and that promise that we are there, he thought about us, and he thought about every person, even to the last person that is going to arrive to this earth, is something that is awesome, how he planned everything. And what I really also realize about this, that is how the earth is suffering because of us, because the earth at the end is receiving the punishment somehow. And I don't remember where we were looking, I think, a video about this. Mm-hmm. I don't remember. And it says, remember that the earth received the first curse when Adam was transgressing. And then YaHuWaH said, the earth is not going to provide the food like it used to do it. Then with Cain, and it says the same, then the earth is not going to provide you as it is going to be against problem and against trouble. So at the end, the state of the earth and everything is because all the sin of the world, all our sins. So we are, and I remember that scripture that it says, woe to them who are hurting the earth. It's not only physically that you are working in the mining camp or mining business and things like that, contaminating, polluting. It's our actions, because through our actions, the earth is receiving that kind of punishment. So that is kind of sad, because it was like the song that I was hearing in the morning, that everybody is also, even though we don't want to be that person, but Mashiach suffered because of every sin that we committed. We were also that person. Maybe we were represented by a soldier who were putting the nails on his hand, but we were causing that. So all our faults, all our iniquities are representing in that action. So when he's talking about this, he's letting us know, be attentive, because the first thing that is going to happen is not that we are going to be idolizing maybe, or be prostrated in front of other idols. The first thing that is going to happen is that we put our eyes far away from him, because that is the first step. We were looking to some other place. We were not connected in the same way that he created us. He created us under his love, under his arms, and he wants us to be there again. So every time that we are not putting him in the first place, we are giving that space. So then all the things are going to arrive there, and we're not going to even realize how fast it's going to happen. Sorry.
Why? No,
I don't
it's
know.
beautiful.
I have a lot of things to say.
If you have more to share, go ahead. That's the idea.
So that's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
I don't think so. You have more to share. You have more to share. I remember we were watching this video. It was yesterday or the day before. Is that the person giving the message? He says something like, "It's not like the earth is somehow." I don't know how to say it. Is okay.
Maybe we're having an issue.
No.
Yeah.
Now it's receiving. Yeah, I think our internet connection is not working properly. Okay. So no, it's working now. Okay, so it's not like the earth is somehow impacting our behaviors.
Yeah, it's
Our behavior is impacting the earth creation, and this is so connected to the word, because that's why we are being called to live a righteous life. That's why it is written in the book of Romans that the whole creation is crying out for the manifestation of the children of Elohim. And you know, when we're able to get in sync with YaHuWaH, I think is going to be the moment when things are going to start working properly. I think that was the main message of everything. All the people we were watching this week. Is we need to get right with YaHuWaH in order to allow even the rest of creation to be aligned with him. You know, that's why we are the most important creation he made. And that's why he put man to rule rule creation, in order to guide everything in the righteousness of the kingdom of YaHuWaH. I think complementing what you said is that, let me check something here, just make sure that everything is working. You're good, looking forward, buffering here, but not to that, okay.
Yeah, okay.
So, it's working well, okay, much better. Is that YaHuWaH is talking through Moses that we need to enter into covenant, is what is written in the verse 12. Let me put it here. It's here, so that you should enter into covenant with YaHuWaH your Elohim, and into his oath with YaHuWaH your Elohim makes with you today. So when we talk about salvation and what Yahushua is offering, you know, in Christianity always they're talking about Yahushua is bringing salvation, and I think this is exactly what it means to enter into covenant. Is that the only way that we are going to be able to endure until the end, the only way that we are going to be able to be established as people is that we need to enter into the covenant with YaHuWaH. Everything that YaHuWaH has been doing from the very beginning with Adam and then with the rest of the forefathers is to establish a covenant. And the invitation was an open invitation. Okay, this is my covenant. If you enter into this covenant, you are going to get this blessing. And I'm gonna do this part of the covenant, you are gonna do this other part of the covenant. So salvation means exactly what Yahushua did. He is inviting us, he's the door, in order for us to be part of the covenant with YaHuWaH. If we are part of the covenant with YaHuWaH, we are going to be able to fulfill our purpose, our part of his plan. And being into a covenant is basically to be under his coverage. If we're not under his coverage, we are like birds alone, flying around without any protection.
But even the birds have the protection.
Even the birds has the protection. Yeah. So can you imagine, even the birds has the protection, what much more protection and much more blessing we are going to have and receive if we are into his covenant. So what's the purpose to be under the covenant is exactly what is written there in the verse 13. In order to establish you today as a people for himself. And he himself be your Elohim. As he has spoken to you and as he has sworn to your fathers, to Abraham, to Yitzchak, and to Yaakov. If we're not entering into the covenant, we are not going to be established as his people. It's just reading this plain text. So how we enter into the covenant? Through the blood of Yahushua. That's the third covenant he made with Israel, is the renewed covenant. He said that, this is my blood when he was celebrating Pesach. Drink of it, because this blood is being shed for the remission of sin, and is the blood of the new covenant. So I think this is a question we need to ask all the time. Are we in covenant with YaHuWaH? Because maybe we think we are in covenant, but sometimes we are not. We are departing from the covenant. How we are going to be able to be in the covenant? First, the blood was already shed by Yahushua. So it's up to us to remain ourselves in the covenant or not. How we do it is by keeping his commandment. Is by doing what we're supposed to do as part of the covenant. Our part of the covenant, in order to receive the blessing, the life, instead of receiving death or the curses. And this time is so important because there's so much darkness going on. Is that the only way that we're going to be able to differentiate ourselves, and not just to put a show in front of the people, just to have the certainty here in our hearts that we are his people. We are part of Israel. We have been established as his people is by knowing that we are in his covenant through Yahushua HaMashiach. And what you say is so beautiful, because even Yahushua mentioned something very similar when he was praying for the disciples in John chapter 17. He was praying for the disciples.
And for us.
And not only for the ones that were there, also for everybody else. It says, set them apart in your truth. Your word is truth. As you send me into the world, I also send them into the world. And for them, I set myself apart, so that they too might be set apart in truth. And I do not pray for this alone, but also for those believing in me through their word, so that they all might be one, as you, Father, are in me, and I in you, so that they too might be one in us, so that the world might believe that you have sent me. So even YaHuWaH was somehow repeating the same thing that we see in this passage of Devarim, is that the covenant is not only with the people that were sitting and hearing there. It's the same thing that happening with this, these studies. Not everybody is able to be
Maybe
online,
watch,
and they're gonna watch this later.
And maybe some people are going to be watching this maybe 2 years later.
Maybe.
And that is the time.
And
when
maybe, it has happening to us as well with some messages from servants of YaHuWaH we have been watching and hearing from the many years ago.
Yeah.
And even those messages are relevant for today. So it's the same thing that's in the heart of YaHuWaH, is that I want you to be my child. I want you to be in my covenant. I have made everything possible for you to get into my covenant in order to receive the blessing, but it's up to you to decide if you want to do it. And with this I finish, just for you to share your part as well. It's like the video of the sheep last week. And I don't remember if we mentioned this, is that the shepherd is there. He's taking care of the sheep. If the sheep is, in her back, not able to move, he's going, taking the sheep, turn it around. And then he's just watching and protecting. But it's up to the sheep
to stand.
To recover the strength, to stand, to walk, to come back to the flock. And we were seeing in the video is that the sheep was doing all the effort possible, but it was not. It wasn't easy. But it was the own sheep doing all the efforts, and the shepherd was taking care, watching all the time, encouraging, even with the dog, with additional help in order to give them the strength. It's the same here with the YaHuWaH. He has done everything for us, but it's up to us to decide. We're going to open the door, though the door is open because it's YaHuWaH. Are we going to cross the door? Are we going to go from darkness into light, or are we going to remain ourselves in darkness
and ignore that and just walk by?
Are we going to make a decision? That's why Paul was all the time saying that it's up to us to decide. This is the day of salvation. And it's easy because we have it in our mouth, and I think in the next chapter is talking about this. It's our decision from our heart and our mouth what we're going to do. If we're going to enter into the covenant, and not only to enter into the covenant, is to remain ourselves into the covenant, because it's a daily decision. If we're going to remain trusting on Him at all times, looking at Him at all times, understanding that He is the one making the way for us to continue in righteousness, making the way for us to continue pushing forward to the final destination. But it's a decision to enter into the covenant in order to receive and be part, being called children of Elohim. Is YaHuWaH HaMashiach is the one that gave us the empowerment to be called children of Elohim, to be established. It is written over there as a people of Elohim. Something else you want to share?
No, this was the reflection, like what happened with Sodom at the beginning, that it was desolated. And even it was Abraham who was dealing with YaHuWaH, and he was telling, are you going to destroy this place if we have just people and righteous people there, just because they are wicked people? And YaHuWaH said, no, I'm just, imagine a whole city. And he was waiting only for 10. And he couldn't find those 10. So what is happening in our days? We are going to allow that the punishment is going to be maybe so great that we are going to have a lot of Sodom near us, that we are going to have a lot of desert in the earth. We cannot do that. We have to be, even though maybe we are alone here, there, and we have to be like those people who are going to be a reminder for our Abba, and he's going to say, no, I'm not going to destroy those people because I have found somebody. There is somebody who is just doing his part, or he's just as faithful as I needed them to be. And it's up to us to transfer that desire of going back to him to the rest of the people. There are a lot of people who that they only think that this is a
what we say is what it is,
and that this is the life, and they cannot even imagine what is coming. They haven't received the invitation of our Abba because maybe they never opened the envelope with the invitation. Maybe they had it and they put it away in some place. But it's up to us to remind them. Maybe sometimes years ago, maybe it was, I don't know, a week ago, maybe it's going to be in the future. You have somebody who is waiting for you. And some of the people are going to, I don't know, leaving before, some other later. Everybody has their own time. But we have to share with the rest that there is a completely different life when we know that Abba is waiting for us, that we are part of him. We are his little cells, I don't know, molecules of his body. And we need to be with him again in order to continue living and not being destroyed with a disease. And the disease is the sin of this world. So...
yeah, this time is, as I said, is relevant. We need to take into our heart the importance of the covenant. I think he has been doing a marvelous work, something I have been meditating for weeks already. And we were talking about this yesterday, though we didn't get into the details. He has been working through his people in different ways. He has been preparing his people in different ways, and to us, he has been preparing us on his truth, on the truth of his word. We were reading what the YaHuWaH said in this beautiful prayer: set them apart in your truth. Your word is truth. He has been doing a so beautiful work throughout all these years with all of us, teaching us his truth. Because by understanding the truth of his word, we're able to understand the importance of what we're talking now, that we need to get into the covenant. We're able to understand the truth, and we're able to understand the importance of remaining ourselves in the covenant of YaHuWaH. There's nothing that will come against us that will deviate us from the truth, because we already know it. For sure, if we're weak, and we are not strong enough clinging to himself, to YaHuWaH, Elohim, we can depart from the truth. But that's going to be a decision for each one of the person. But we cannot deny that by knowing the truth now, that is much more difficult for us to make a decision to go astray. I think for me, at least in the way that I feel it, is an impossibility. Because I know the truth, I'm not going to depart from the truth. So I think that
needs to be our desire, to be always convinced and secure that the way that the connection that we have today with him is even every day stronger and stronger.
And he has been working with more people in different ways, and I think the role we will have in these days, these times, is exactly that, is to remain in the truth, is to share the truth with others. This is exactly what Moshe was doing with the people. He received this amazing revelation of the Torah of YaHuWaH. And he was the one leading the people in the truth, leading the people to enter into the covenant, leading the people for them to be established as a people of Elohim. And this is exactly what we need to do, is is to shine that light. And we're going to do it exactly what is written in the verse 9. By guarding the words of this covenant. Guarding not only is doing them.
Living them.
Yes, is to put in practice You know, it's exactly as the disciples of Mashiach was asking Yahushua how to put in practice your words. Is to live by them, is to do it in every aspect of our lives, in every experience we're doing, because that's the only way that we're going to prosper in everything we do. And prosperity, you know, we can talk about prosperity in different ways. You know, we need to put our eyes and seek first the kingdom of YaHuWaH and His righteousness. That's the prosperity that we need to seek for. Is the prosperity in the way of YaHuWaH, in order to receive more truth, in order to be a better servant day by day. If we talk about physical prosperity, for sure, YaHuWaH will cover our needs, but that shouldn't be our focus. You know, this will be granted by YaHuWaH, but by the only fact that we are seeking to keep His words and to do them, and to seek the prosperity in order to serve Him more, serve Him better, and He will cover our needs. But and I think this is exactly what is needed for us to do now. Yesterday, if you remember, we were talking about this. Is that sometimes we depart so much from the world, and we hide ourselves in our caves, like Eliyahu, running away because of fear. And when we need to do exactly the opposite. And that's why, you know, the testimony of the person that we were hearing the other day is so beautiful, because we are being called to go to the world. What Yahushua said in this prayer: as you send me into the world, I also send them into the world. So He's not calling us to be in caves. He's calling us to, and He has sent us to the world. And what it means to the world, you know, He will guide you where you have to go. He will guide us on what we have to do. He will guide us on which people we are going to be able to reach. But what we need to do always is to have the heart to serve Him, is to shine that light that doesn't belong to us. Is the light of Him that He has put inside of us, in order for others to be able to see it, and to get to the realization of there is something more than what we see with our eyes, physical eyes. There is something even more great and beautiful. But if we remain in our caves,
how He is going to use us?
Yeah.
It's like to have a silver spoon and always in the drawer, never use it. So yeah, it's beautiful, it's perfect. But if you don't use it, what is the purpose of that? You need it to have some food.
And I think the time already came, and it's coming even stronger, that we need to write those words in our heart. Is that He has awakened us to His truth. It's not for us to be selfish, and to enjoy the truth for ourselves. Because if we do that, yeah, maybe we are going to be able to endure until the end, but we are not gonna be able to have all the rewards. And let's forget about the rewards for a moment. We are not gonna make Him smile and to feel glad in His heart. Because if He has chosen us, His remnant, in these times, and you know, I heard something very similar to what I have been saying this week, is that He has chosen us in this generation because He has seen something in you and us that is even more stronger and more important than the previous generation of Israel. If not, why He didn't choose to have Eliyahu, Moshe, Hanoch, you name it, in these times? He decided for you to live in these times because He saw something in you. And that something is not going to be able to appear and to be used by Him if we are just hiding ourselves. What it means to go to the world is something that He will guide us what to do it, but the time already came and we need to do it, and we need to do it by the guidance of the Ruach HaKodesh. We cannot do it by ourselves, because you know what? For what purpose is to be called and to establish as a people of Elohim if we're not doing what we are being called for? And the minimum thing that he has been calling us is to shine his light
and be his witness
and be witnesses. And there's another passage here, I think it's in the verse 16 and 17, and this is something related to what happened to me last night. For you know how we dwelt in the land of Mizraim, and how we passed through the nations which ye passed through. And you saw their abominations and their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, which were with them. We are going to go through the valley of shadows, of death, through darkness all the time. But in the same way that we saw this testimony this week, is that YaHuWaH was doing exactly the same. He was walking through darkness. He was not hiding himself in the cave. He was going to the darkness because in the darkness is where his light was going to shine even more.
And he found there people who need that light.
And in the darkness, he found people that was in need. That's true. And
but he didn't stay there. That's the issue. He was going.
He was walking around and bringing the light so for the people to see the light and to make their own decision. Either were going to remain in the darkness or they were going to go to the light. But the only way for the people to make the decision is because it was possible for them to make the decision because the light came. Without the light coming into darkness, it's impossible. And this testimony of John Paul was something that touched me because he was it's a brother. We were taking a look in a video from him that he recorded on 2012 with many prophetic words he received, even talking about pandemics and two pandemics that will come. The first one was only related to fear without too much damage, and the second one that was going to be deadly. And he received this on 2012.
No,
and not only that,
it in
28 starting on 28 actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the video was
on
recorded
2012.
on 2012.
And a part of this testimony he shared is that he was following the step of YaHuWaH and he was going to the place of darkness. All these events of New Age events. He was going there and not to put a confrontation. He was even paying for the stand.
And he was there
And he was there paying, and he was paying to have a stand in the
so he can have the
place.
right to share.
Yes, and he was sharing the good news among darkness. And part of the testimony he was sharing is that the people that were reading the fortune tellers, reading cards and things like that, they were complaining to the organizer of the events because every time that this brother was close to them, they were unable to do what they do. And no confrontation at all.
No.
He was just bringing light. And the people felt the ruach in him acting and seeing the light in the same way that we saw the disciples bringing the good news into the towns and cities full of idolatry, full of darkness, in the same way that YaHuWaH was doing his part. And I have been thinking on this for since we saw this video and we were talking yesterday, because we hide ourselves so much. We are so fearful, so much. Yesterday, this spiritual attack I had because I saw myself in a place of darkness. With people of darkness. And I was walking in a kind of trench. It was fully dark. And that's why I shouted out. I don't remember exactly what I said. I said, YaHuWaH, you are the light of my life. This is what I said.
I couldn't understand in the language, but I heard ill.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I remember that I said, "You are the light of my life,"
No,
but you didn't hear that.
no. I
Okay.
heard ill.
Okay. This is what I said, at least on my mind.
Yeah.
So I was talking about light. And I think the time came that we should remove any fear from inside us. We have nothing to fear. He is with us. And, as we see in the verse 16 and 17, going through and pass through the nations where we see all the abominations, all the idols, is similar to the dream that I had. I have been sharing this few times already.
About the garbage.
I was in the car and I was seeing the garbage in front of each one of the houses. It's the same thing, but nothing to fear because he is the one in the driver's seat, and we are just following the step of him, looking around, not being contaminated, not being defiled. That is written in the verse 18. But we are going there in order to go to the battle and fight and bring the light of the world. How come we are going to be able to even think or to complain sometimes that we see so much darkness in the world where we're just sitting in our sofa doing nothing, just praying? And I am not saying that praying is doing nothing, but we can do something more than praying. I think we have no right to say anything about what's going on in the world if we're doing nothing in our hands to share and to shine. I think to the contrary, we should be so humble and we should repent and ask Allah, if you have opened our eyes, my eyes, what I can do for you. YaHuWaH sent me to the world. What am I supposed to do? How do you want me to serve you? Where I have to go, what I have to say, how I shine the light you have given me, because your truth is a light to my feet. I cannot be so selfish to keep that light just for myself and not to share it with somebody else. When I see darkness increasing in the world and just keeping it for myself and not sharing it. This is it. This is not what YaHuWaH would do.
He was healing the sick.
He was going into the sick. He was going to the darkness and healing the sick. He was bringing salvation, restoration. He was going to the darkness in order to shine the light of the world. That light that he is himself.
And Kefa was saying also, we gave you what we've received. So if we receive the words of salvation, if we receive forgiveness for our sins before knowing Abba, if we receive hope because a new life, we have to be able to share all that to the people who at this very moment, they are feeling that they don't have hope. They're feeling lost and they're looking how to fill that void in their heart with something else. They're looking in the wrong places. And we are the only one who can let them know, you know what? I was like you years ago. I was feeling like you years ago. And the only one solution that we have is this one. And if you want to experience the same, if you want to know what is really to be without that burden, you receiving that shalom that is only coming from above, from our Abba, you have to go and meet him. He's waiting for you. And we only have to share that. We only have to maybe to accompany them, because maybe some of them, they don't know how to pray. Maybe some of them, they just need, like maybe how we need it at the first time, that somebody else is going to introduce us and to let us know that we can be heard too, that they can be heard too. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe it's that, like holding their hands until they can have their own personal experience with him. And any question that maybe they can have, always tell them, He's going to answer. If you want, I can try to help you, but from a brother point of view, from a sister point of view. I'm just like you. I'm not something better. I'm not something different. The only difference that we have is time. Maybe I was doing this part of the walk before, but everybody has the same opportunity. So I think that is important, that we can give that testimony, that hope to the people who feel that there is no hope.
And it's just a matter to share the testimony, as you said, what we have been going through, how he has restored us. You know, the video that I put in the channel 2 days ago is something we have been working for the weeks already. And this is something that has been in our heart, you know. Sometimes we try to hide things from the past or the scars. When, you know, it's just to, when we do that, it's just to also to forget what YaHuWaH has done for us. And we need to do the opposite, because when we are crushed and we are with brokenness, is when the most we see the hand of YaHuWaH rescuing us. And those are testimonies we can share with people, because everybody is going through situations. But they were able to share, like the book that we were reading last night, the marvelous work of YaHuWaH, you know, doing sometimes supernatural things in our lives. This is being a witness. And not because of what we learn orally or what we have reading in the Word, also telling about our own personal experience. You know, this is exactly what the Kepha, Peter and John was telling, you know, this the Pharisees and the priests when they took them because of preaching the name of Yahushua, that we cannot hide, or we cannot keep quiet for what we have seen and hear. They had to tell their own experiences with Yahushua. And though we're not able to see him now, he's doing so much things in our lives, and sometimes are very tiny things that we are not able to see it because we get it for granted, but he's doing it in a daily basis. And every time that we have been going through the shadow of death, he's doing a mighty work in each one of us. And those are testimonies that we should use in order to bring honor and kavod to his mighty name. You know, sometimes we don't need to even to speak to people, just to share our lifestyle, just to share even what we have been going through and how YaHuWaH has rescued us. By doing that, you know, you are bringing the light of the kingdom of YaHuWaH. And believe me or not, the time is already here, and we need to start doing these kind of things. You know, it is written in the verse 29, what is the purpose of Revelation? It says the secret matters belong to YaHuWaH, our Elohim. But what is revealed belongs to us and to our children forever, to do all the words of this Torah. It is written, you know, in the book of the prophets that the YaHuWaH does nothing without revealing to his servants, the prophets. But also Yahushua said something like this. Let me see if this chapter of Matthew. And the 12 ones came and said to him, why do you speak to them in parables? And he answered and said to them, because it has been given to you to know the secrets of the reign of the heavens, but to them it has not been given. So what Yahushua is saying is that, you know, it is for me, it's the same thing that is written here in the Devarim chapter 29. Is for us has been the revelation of YaHuWaH Elohim is for us and for our children, is for Israel. But what we are going to do about it, it is written there, to do all the words of this Torah. We are receiving revelation. Our eyes has been opened, or are in the process to be opening, because we cannot say that we know everything. That's not true. You know, because of his compassion, he has been opening our eyes to his truth. Also, he has been opening our ears to his truth in order to do what? To do all the words of this Torah. And you know, what are the words of this Torah? In the Torah itself, it says that he has chosen Israel to be a nation of kings and priests. And we were talking about this last week. And what it means to be a king and a priest is to rule, is to guide, is to rule and guide in righteousness, is to lead people to the acknowledging or to the knowledge of YaHuWaH as about. How we do that is by shining the light. It's exactly what Yahushua did. It's exactly what he said as a commandment to us, sending us to the world. So if we're receiving revelation of the truth, it's not for ourselves alone. It's to serve. He came as a servant. And he's sending us as servants. So, and that's a question we need to ask every day. Are we serving him in the way that he wants me to serve him? Or are I just hiding myself in the cave because of fear, because of, you name it. Most of the time it's fear. You know, each one of us will receive the answer here in our hearts. If we can do more or not. Anything else?
No, that I was still thinking about the people that maybe need to have this kind of hand and help. Maybe like it was my case that I was telling to this girl, how I'm going to pray? I'm not worthy of praying. And she was telling me, I remember she was telling me, do you not know the life of the people that he chose that are in the scripture? Moshe was somebody who had an accident and killed somebody. It was David who was doing this and that. But even though he had some things in their lives, the Father wants the other part of their life, the new part of their lives.
True.
So the Father is not saying, no, you cannot do because you are like that and that. He is giving that opportunity to everybody. But he is asking for us a change of heart.
Exactly.
And when we do that, when we have that change of life, he's going to be in charge of, gave us the cleansing that we need. He's going to help us and he's going to be there. And that's why he gave his own son to die for us. So we can have that opportunity. So that opportunity is for everybody.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, now it's my turn.
Yeah, go ahead.
And it shall be when all these words come upon you, the blessing and the curse which I have set before you, and you shall bring them back to your heart among all the nations where YaHuWaH your Elohim drives you, and shall turn back to YaHuWaH your Elohim and obey his voice according to all that I command you today, with all your heart and with all your being, you and your children. Then YaHuWaH your Elohim shall turn back your captivity, and shall have compassion on you, and he shall turn back and gather you from all the peoples where YaHuWaH your Elohim has scattered you. If any of you are driven out to the farthest part under the heavens, we are in one of the farthest part. From there YaHuWaH your Elohim does gather you, and from there he does take you. That is the meaning. It doesn't matter how far we were from him. From there he's going to take us. And YaHuWaH your Elohim shall bring you to the land which your father possessed, and you shall possess it. And he shall do good to you, and increase you more than your fathers. And YaHuWaH your Elohim shall circumcise your heart, and the heart of your seed, to love YaHuWaH your Elohim with all your heart, and with all your being, so that you might live. And YaHuWaH your Elohim shall put all these curses on your enemies and on those who hate you, who persecuted you. And you shall turn back and obey the voice of YaHuWaH and do all his commands which I command you today. When I read about enemies, I'm always thinking about this, that we are, the Father, well, this is just for the exercise, is here. We are there and we are coming in this direction to him. The enemies are all the ones who are in the other direction. So because those are the enemies, if we have people that are in the opposite way. So, and he says, I'm going to put maybe the curses that at one point maybe were over us because we were on the other direction too. He's going to continue putting in the people who are leaving, who are going astray, who are going in the opposite direction of YaHuWaH. And YaHuWaH your Elohim shall make you have excess in all the work of your hand, in the fruit of your body, and in the fruit of your livestock, and in the fruit of your ground for good. For YaHuWaH turns back to rejoice over you for good, as he rejoiced over your fathers. If you obey the voice of YaHuWaH your Elohim, to guard his commands and his laws, which are written in this book of the Torah, if you turn back to YaHuWaH your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being, for this command which I am commanded you today, it is not hard for you, it is not too hard for you, nor it is far off. It is not in the heavens to say, who shall ascend into heavens for us and bring it to us and cause us to hear it, so that we do it? Nor it is beyond the sea to say, who shall go over the sea for us and bring it to us and cause us to hear it, so that we do it? For the word is very near you, in your mouth and in your heart to do it. So the word always have been here. See, I have set before you life and good, and death and evil. In that I am commanded you today to love YaHuWaH your Elohim, to walk in his ways, and to guard his commands, and his laws, and his right rulings. And you shall live and increase, and YaHuWaH your Elohim shall bless you in the land which you go to possess. But if your heart turns away, and you do not obey, and shall be drawn away. See, the first thing, if your heart turns away, that is the first thing that is going to lead us in this bad path, and shall bow down to other mighty ones and serve them. I have declared to you today that you shall certainly perish. You shall not prolong your days in the land which you are passing over the Jordan to enter and possess. I have called the heavens and the earth as witnesses today against you. I have set before you life and death, the blessing and the curse. Therefore you shall choose life, so that you live, both you and your seed, to love YaHuWaH your Elohim, to obey his voice, and to cling to him, for he is your life and the length of your days, to dwell in the land which YaHuWaH swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Yitzhak, and to Yaakov, to give them.
Wow, it's a beautiful passage.
Even to Abraham, he has to work on him. He has to correct a lot of things.
Yep.
He changed his name and his wife's name. So even in everybody, even in the first person who our father was thinking about doing this covenant, and Yitzhak and Yaakov and everybody else, everybody here in this side of the world, is because we need to do something. It's because we need to get rid about things that are avoiding our connection with Abba. So, like this song said, our flowing with you. There is a song that it says, quita lo que me impide el fluir el fluir de...
the one that we were singing last night.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember.
Yeah, that he is the only one who can remove anything that is bothering him in the flowing of his ruach through us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful promise, because it's talking about the end times. And the key is here, it's in the verse 9 and 10. 9 and 10. And YaHuWaH your Elohim shall make you have excess in all the work of your hand, in the fruit of your body, and in the fruit of your livestock, and in the fruit of your ground for good. For YaHuWaH turns back to rejoice over you for good, as he rejoiced over your fathers. If you obey the voice of YaHuWaH your Elohim, to guard his command and his laws, which are written in this book of the Torah, if you turn back to YaHuWaH your Elohim with all your heart with all your being. So it's bring all the words of Torah to our hearts. Is to do Teshuvah, is to return to YaHuWaH, to his way, is to obey his voice, to keep his commandment, his covenant, to do it with all our heart and being. That's the way that he is asking us to love him, and it is written in the book of John is that we love YaHuWaH by keeping his commandments, and we need to do it from the heart. It's not from the lips. It's to do it with truth, and we're not going to talk about the fulfillment of this because we know it's talking about the second Exodus, and we know it's connected to the trumpet on Matthew chapter 24. But one thing that for me, maybe it's because I have been thinking and meditating on this, is what is written here. If you obey the voice of YaHuWaH your Elohim, what it means to obey the voice of YaHuWaH.
His guidance. What he has said here, because here it was transcribed, his voice, but also when he's talking to us, because I think that he's also leading us.
Sometimes we have been become. I'm gonna use a word that I don't like, but it's gonna be much easier to understand. Legalistic. It's only this. And it's true. The truth is here. But even in this amazing book, we see that even when he was giving the written word for us to be the guidance, because everything we need to go through the lenses of the word, even here in this amazing book, we see how he was speaking his voice with all the servant. He was speaking face to face with Abraham. He was speaking and walking face to face with Adam. He was speaking through dreams and visions with Jacob. With Moshe, he was speaking face to face as a friend. So I do believe is that when he's saying that we need to obey the voice, it's not only his obedience to the commandments, because he's talking, if you obey the voice of YaHuWaH or him to guard his commandments, he's going to speak to us through his Ruach. And when he's guiding us and speaking to us through his Ruach within us, if he is the one speaking, he will never will go against his written word.
So he's going to be in alignment with the word.
Absolutely. But we need to acknowledge, in the same way that we see happening with the forefathers, in the same way that we see happening with the disciples, is that he wants to speak to us. That's why it's a communication, is that he wants to hear our voices. But also he wants us to hear his voice.
Mashiach was telling us that the Ruach was the one who is going to teach us all the truth at the end, because there are more truth. And every day we're going to discover more truth. So we have to be open to receive that.
So this is something we need to develop, how to hear his voice, how to be attentive to his voice. Because at the moment we are able to recognize his voice, we're going to be able to decide if we're going to be obedient or disobedient. And he's so lovely is that he knows that we are in the process to learn. But the point is that we need to be willing to learn, to have a teachable heart in order to learn how to hear his voice and to obey his voice. So, one thing that caught my attention, and it's a beautiful thing here, is when it's talking about the command is not far away. It's talking, nor is it beyond the sea, to say, who shall go over the sea for us and bring it to us, because us to hear it so that we do it. Who is the one that was able to walk in the sea? It's Yahushua.
Who wasn't?
He's able to go over the sea, to walk in the sea in order to bring the word, so for us to hear it. What happened with Kepha? Was Yahushua walking on the sea, and he was speaking to Kepha. And Kepha, Peter, was having the faith enough in order to go into the water because he was hearing the voice of Mashiach
And he could do
commanding
it for
him,
some moment.
and he was able to do it. He didn't sustain the emunah, the faith, long enough in order to continue because he was fearful.
He doubted.
And he doubted. But he heard the commandment and the voice of Mashiach commanding him, come to me.
But Mashiach is there. When he see that we are beginning to drown, he's going to help us with his hand.
And I think this is exactly what Paul is taking exactly this passage when he's talking about emunah. He's talking about faith. Let's see if my notes are right. It's in the book of Romans, chapter 10, verse 1 to 10. It says, truly, brothers, my heart's desire and prayer to Elohim for Israel is for deliverance, for salvation. For I bear them witness that they have an ardor for Elohim, but not according to knowledge. For not knowing the righteousness of Elohim, and seeking to establish their own righteousness, traditions of men. They did not subject themselves to righteousness of Elohim. Is exactly what YaHuWaH was saying. You are invalidating the commandment, the righteousness of Elohim, by keeping your traditions. He's not saying something different here. For Messiah is the goal of the Torah, and to righteousness to everyone who believes. For Moshe writes about the righteousness which is of the Torah. The man who does this shall live by them. But the righteousness of belief speaks in this way. Do not say in your heart, who shall ascend into heavens? That is to bring Messiah down. Or who shall descend into the abyss? That is to bring Messiah up from the dead. But what does it say? The word is near you, in your mouth, in your heart. That is the word of belief which we are proclaiming. That if you confess with your mouth the Master Yahushua and believe in your heart that Elohim has raised him from the dead, you shall be saved. For with the heart one believes unto righteousness, and one confesses with the mouth, and so is saved. So it is beautiful that Shaul is taking this passage to talk about emunah, is talking about faith. And this is something that sometimes we forget. We need to put things in balance all the time. We have been studying so much the word, and it has been giving us so much blessing. But sometimes our focus has been only on the commandments, forgetting the amazing faith and emunah and wonderful work that YaHuWaH did with all the forefathers. You know, Abraham was keeping the commandments, the truth, because he learned the truth in the same way that we have been learning. But also he was walking in faith. Because when YaHuWaH told him that he was going to have a son, he believed. Even though Sarah was laughing, she also believed. Yaakov, because of faith, he was having all these visions, though that he was going through difficulties. He knew about the promise of YaHuWaH. He was able to see these amazing stars with the messengers, Malachim, going up and down. I think the time is coming that we have learned truth. We need to remain ourselves in truth. We need to continue learning the truth and keeping the commandments, because this is part of the conditions that we see here. In order to be gathered from the four corners of the earth, we need to turn back. We need to obey the commandments and to put in practice the commandment of YaHuWaH, because that's going to be the only way that we're going to be into covenant, to be established as a people. But in addition to that, we need to start walking in faith, understanding that the YaHuWaH is a living Elohim. YaHuWaH is not only what is written here in the word. He's everything. He wants to communicate to us. He wants to guide us. He will always guide us in his word. He is the manual, as we were reading the book this morning. You know, earth came with instructions. The instructions of how to keep the earth, how to live our lives, and the instructions are here in this book. But it's not only that. He wants to walk with us in the same way that he walked with Adam. He wants to talk to us. He wants us to live by faith. in order to see his mighty work, his mighty hand working in us. And we need to prepare our heart because the time, as I said, already came in order to live in this way, in the same way that the forefathers were living, in truth and in spirit, in truth and in faith, in the same way that YaHuWaH was teaching us that we need to worship him in truth, in the truth of the word, and in the Ruach of Elohim. The two gates, the two doors, life and death. And with this, I'm going to finish my comment for today. It says, therefore, you shall choose life so that you live, both you and your seed. It's our decision. We are the one that needs to decide to choose life instead of death. We are the one that needs to decide to go through the narrow path instead of going to the broad and wide path of the world. It's up to us to decide if we're going to remain in darkness or we're going to cross into light. If we're going to resign of being children of darkness and to become children of light, the children of Elohim. Because as soon as we make the decision that is in our mouth, as Paul was talking, Shaul was talking, from the heart, and actually this is beautiful because YaHuWaH said is that out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speak. So
what we have here.
Yes, and this is a kind of, it's a kind of, how to say, it's an access point. It's a point of decision, as we were talking in the past. So we are gonna let YaHuWaH to circumcise our heart, to split that rock, as I was showing in the last video, to split the rock in order to let the river of living waters to flow from within and to fill the heart so the mouth will speak the righteousness, what is coming from the Ruach of Elohim, or we're going to keep this heart of stone, allowing this heart to be filled with what we see from the world that not necessarily is going to be the righteousness of the kingdom. So how we are going to allow this heart to be filled is what we're going to speak. And out of the heart also are coming the defilements. That's what YaHuWaH was speaking.
That's why it's so important what we let enter into our heart.
Yes, how we are feeling this set apart place, this temple.
How we are taking care of this. If we are putting there images or thoughts or memories that are contaminated, or we are replacing them with the good stuff that our Abba is. I know that he's always given us little gems for our treasure save. I feel that.
And the decision is not a one-time decision, it's a daily decision. Because if you choose life, if I decide for life, it's coming with the responsibilities. Is to love YaHuWaH Elohim, to obey his voice, to cling to him. Why? And this is the being able to acknowledge that he is the fullness of our life, because he is your life and the length of your days. And then is coming the promise. And the promise, I think, is going to be manifested very soon in the world. It's coming by the hand of YaHuWaH HaMashiach. That's what I have for today. Do you have anything else you want to share?
Just the last thing, that our life is like the season, different season. Maybe the one that we love it, maybe for some people this is spring because everything is blooming, beautiful colors. The grass is really green and it's a marvelous color.
We're getting to that point now in that season.
Yeah, maybe soon. But sometimes every season is needed. Yeah. We know that sometime in winter, in the cold of the winter, when the grass is not growing, when all the animals are sleeping, with everything are like with less energy, is needed because that is important to have the proper fruit in the summer. So if the winter is not so cold, the fruits are not going to be quite good. They're going to be spoiled somehow. So every season we have to embrace it like the perfect gift, even though we sometimes we do not enjoy them. And I'm comparing the season to maybe the moods that we have. Maybe not everybody we are happy. Maybe some days we feel that we are down. We have just to go to our Abba and ask him, please be with me in this, maybe this difficult moment, because you know why I need this moment. Maybe to be kind of alone, maybe to be facing a kind of a sadness, because we are going to receive sadness, happiness, and we are not going to appreciate happiness if we haven't known the sadness. We are not going to have hope if we haven't lived what is to be hopeless. So we need to have this opposition, and he's just teaching us through that how to endure, how to be refined, and how to put the desire in our heart that his day is going to arrive soon. His promise of a better life, when all that negativity things or all the things that we don't enjoy is going to disappear, because he's going to do it. It's his promise. So
beautiful words to finish.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't know if somebody wants to say something, because we were disconnected the chat.
yes, we're taking a look in the chat now. If you have any question or comment you
because-
want to make, we are taking a look here for a few minutes. Just to tell you that we will be celebrating Yom Teruah on this coming Wednesday. So in case you are celebrating this week, this coming week, we hope that you are going to have a beautiful time together with YaHuWaH. In case you are celebrating in other time, we hope the same for you, is that you will be enjoying the time together with the feast of YaHuWaH in this coming, the last feast of this year. So I think are becoming so prophetic and so relevant in everything that's going on in the world. We need to be rehearsing all of this and enjoying this time, because Allah has opened our eyes to his truth. So we're just taking a look in the chat. So Yarash says in California we have 2 seasons, warm and warmer, or hotter. That's becoming happening in all the world.
But
almost.
remember, in Eden, it was saying that it was the cool of the day, so it's going to be the perfect weather there. And what I was saying at the beginning, sorry that I need to talk a lot today, but I was saying at the beginning, when we think about somebody, and usually that person is maybe just thinking about us too, it's a kind of connection. Imagine how happy our Abba is with us when we think about him all the day, because we know that he remembers us. And when we think about him, he's always thinking about us too. So I think that is the most beautiful way to have our thought connected with him. And if it happens that you're going to be maybe celebrating all this feast by yourself, is the time that you're not just by yourself. It's the time that you are with Abba. He is the one who wants to celebrate the feast with you and with us and with everybody here and in all the places in the world. He is the one organizing everything. He was the one teaching us about his feast, and we have to be there with him. We are his guest, and I don't know, I think that he just wants us to be with him, and that is more than enough. So we have to be content in our heart.
So when they say feel strange, it is a short one today. That's true, because the portion is shorter today.
Yeah, it was only 2 chapters.
Yes, and just for you to know, we changed time here in Chile, so we are 1 hour later, and we need to feed a 13 years old boy here. What else? Jimmy Marisabel is asking, will you be doing teaching Juan Carlos? It's a generic question, Jimmy Marisabel. Absolutely. I have so many topics to share. Just looking into the times and focus in order to prepare the material. So, yep. In the same way that I was sharing this short video a few days ago, most probably we will be sharing more the studies of the word soon. What else?
Like fellowship for Yom Teruah. It says.
DDK, Dave, Debbie, and the same Jimmy. We don't know. We have been talking to Lillian that we would like to have a day of celebration, somehow setting us apart to enjoy that day. We have not discussed about doing something that day, but we will pray about it. If we feel the move to do something, we will let you know in advance. Okay? But for the moment, we have not planned something for that day. Just to relax, enjoy, and meditate on the word, and to eat something.
Yeah, something like special.
Special, yeah.
Yeah.
So what else? We can wait for to celebrate together. Yes, Heidi.
Yeah.
We are the same. Thank you, Brigida Rojas, for your comment. And we'll excuse you for your English. Don't worry. I made a lot of mistakes too.
Me too.
Keep your mind, your heart, your being stayed in YaHuWaH, and let your eye be single toward Him. That's absolutely true word, my brother.
And let's pray also for all our family who has been even separated from a moment, only from a moment, for their dear ones. Maybe for, I don't know, maybe a son who has departed before the time that we think that he would have done it. Maybe a husband, maybe a wife, maybe a father. Because we have to know that all these temporary separations are just decided because Abba wants to have his children back, and he was choosing the moment, even though for us it's something difficult, but he was choosing that day because he knows when is the perfect time for everybody. It's like we have to see, like we are in a train, and some people need to go out of that train maybe in some places before, some other are going to continue there. But we have to pray to have that shalom, that Abba is doing everything. He is behind everything. So, and we have to just pray for those who are needing that comfort, that shalom that is coming from him. So he's going to give us that peace in our hearts.
So a few more questions here. Pam H is asking, do you have a current calendar? Yes, I have a current calendar that we're following, Pam. If you want a copy of the calendar, please send me an email and I will send you a copy of it, okay? And Dennis, I think I saw...
And thank you all the moderators. Yeah, you're so helpful.
Yes.
And we know that you share a lot of beautiful things.
Dennis is asking, this Wednesday on our Gregorian calendar, Day of Trumpets. Yes, this is what we're doing. We're keeping it from sunrise to sunset, though we extended most of the time during night. But yes, this Wednesday we are keeping Days of Trumpet. Please send me your calendar. Okay, Regina, please send me an email. If not, I'm gonna forget. Please, so send me an email after this broadcast, and I will reply. I have few emails to reply to answer today, so I will make sure that I'm sending you the link. Okay, so let's keep it until here. It has been a blessing to be with all of you. So I hope this word that we have been feeling in our heart has been a blessing to you all as well. And we hope to see you next week in next Shabbat.
Abba willing,
Yes. So keep everybody in your prayers and keep meditating in the word of YaHuWaH, and especially on what we have been sharing with you today. It's what the service that YaHuWaH has been calling you for these times.
Yeah.
You know, he has a call all of us for such a time like this. So we need to be meditating all the time and praying to him how you want to use me in these times, how I can bring your light into this darkness, how I can be empowered by your Ruach in order to bring the truth of your word that you have been sharing and teaching me these times with the power and the mighty power that is coming from your Ruach HaKodesh. This should be our daily prayers and hearing his voice on what he wants from us. So once again, thank you so much. See you next week. Have a wonderful week. And
today, a lovely Shabbat today.
A lovely Shabbat. YaHuWaH
special.
be with you all, and Shabbat Shalom. See you next week. Bye-bye.
שיר המעלות, הנה ברכו את אדוני. שיר המעלות, הנה ברכו את אדוני. כל עובדי אדוני העומדים בבית אדוני בלילות. כל עובדי אדוני העומדים בבית אדוני בלילות. יברכך אדוני מציון עושה שמיים וארץ. שום ידיכם בבית אדוני וברכו את שמו. יברכך אדוני מציון עושה שמיים וארץ. שום ידיכם בבית אדוני וברכו את שמו. שום ידיכם קודש וברכו את אדוני. 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 כל עובדי אדוני העומדים בבית אדוני בלילות. כל עובדי אדוני העומדים בבית אדוני בלילות. יברכך אדוני מציון עושה שמיים וארץ. שום ידיכם בבית אדוני וברכו את שמו. יברכך אדוני מציון עושה שמיים וארץ. שום ידיכם בבית אדוני וברכו את שמו. שיר המעלות,